Operation Mincemeat, the dead man who helped win World War II cold open. It is April 1943. The Atlantic Ocean churns beneath a gray Spanish sky. A fisherman's net snags something in the water off the coast of Huelva. Something heavy. Something that will change the course of the war. When they pull it up, they find a body. A man in a Royal Marines uniform, bloated from weeks in the sea, his identity papers still clutched in a waterlogged briefcase. His name is Major William Martin. He is dead. But he is also alive with secrets. Inside that briefcase lie documents so damaging, so strategically valuable, that they will set in motion a chain of events that could alter everything. Germany will read them, Hitler will read them, and based on the lies buried in a dead man's pockets, the Führer will make decisions that will cost him the war. This is the story of Operation Mincemeat, of how British intelligence took a corpse, gave him a name, a history, and a girlfriend, and then threw him into the sea. A dead man who would become one of World War II's most brilliant deceptions. A man who never lived, yet whose sacrifice would save thousands of lives. Act 1. The World Before. It is November 1942. The Allies are losing. In North Africa, they have clawed back from the brink of defeat, but the Mediterranean remains a German and Italian lake. In the Atlantic, U-boats sink merchant vessels faster than Britain can build them. In the Pacific, Japan still controls vast territories. And in Russia, the Soviets are bleeding to death in the snow, their armies shattered at Stalingrad. The war has become a question of mathematics, numbers, tonnage, attrition. How many ships can be sunk? How many soldiers can be killed? How long can a nation endure? For Britain, the answer is not forever. The treasury is empty. The people are starving. The island has been under siege for 3 years. They need a victory. They need it soon. And they cannot afford to lose. But victory requires knowledge. It requires understanding your enemy's mind. What does Hitler fear? Where is he weakest? Where will he make a mistake? In a nondescript building in Bletchley Park, in the heart of rural England, thousands of men and women work in absolute secrecy, hunched over decryption machines. They have broken the German Enigma code. They can read Hitler's most intimate military communications. They know his plans before his generals do. But knowledge of the enemy's plans is only half the battle. The other half is controlling what the enemy believes about you. Enter Naval Intelligence Division, Room 39, in the Admiralty in London. This is the domain of Commander Ian Fleming. Yes, that Ian Fleming, the man who will later invent James Bond. Fleming and his team are charged with a daunting task. Deception, strategic deception. The art of making the Germans see what is not there and miss what is. It is here, in this shadowy corner of British intelligence, that an extraordinary idea is born. By late 1942, the Allies have made a decision. They will invade North Africa. Operation Torch is scheduled for November. But there is a problem. The Germans must not know that Sicily is the next target. After North Africa falls, Sicily will be the gateway to Europe. The Nazis must be convinced that the Allies are coming somewhere else, somewhere more important. Somewhere that will pull German resources away from Sicily. The deception planners have a name for their new operation, Mincemeat, and they will need a corpse to make it work. Act 2, The Storm. In January 1943, a man walks into St. Pancras Hospital in London. He is in his 30s, thin, hollow-eyed. He has swallowed rat poison. Within hours, he is dead. The hospital keeps his body. No one claims it. No one will miss him. His name was Glyndŵr Michael. He had been a tramp, a vagrant, a man so unmemorable that he had left almost no mark on the world. But now in death, he will matter more than he ever did in life. The British intelligence services have found their vessel. They need to transform him. They need to give him a new identity, a new life, a new purpose. They call in the mastermind. His name is Ewan Montagu. He is a naval intelligence officer, a brilliant legal mind, and an imaginative deceiver. He sees in the corpse of Glyndŵr Michael the possibility of magnificent fiction. By early April 1943, the plan is set. Montagu and his team will dress the body in the uniform of a Royal Marines officer. They will give him the name Major William Martin. They will create for him a fiancée, a mother, a family. They will forge documents. They will invent memories. They will construct an entire past from thin air. But they will also give him something else. Something dangerous, something that the Germans will die to read. The documents are prepared with meticulous care. They are not crude forgeries. They are sophisticated, layered, believable. One is a letter from the Vice Chief of the Imperial General Staff to the Commander-in-Chief in the Mediterranean. It discusses the invasion plans, but the invasion plans it discusses are false. They suggest that the Allies intend to land in Sardinia and Greece, not Sicily, anywhere but Sicily. Another document is more subtle. It is a personal letter written in the style of a military man. It mentions his fiancée. It asks for advice about a wedding ring. It is full of the mundane details that make a life real. The Germans, when they read it, will see a man, not a target, a person. The letters are placed in a leather briefcase along with other items. Military passes, a stub from a theater ticket, receipts, photographs of a woman, actually a photograph of a secretary in the Admiralty, but William Martin will never know. They even give him money, English banknotes, a few coins, the small change of a life lived. On April 19, 1943, the corpse is placed inside a sealed metal container. The container is loaded aboard a Royal Air Force Catalina flying boat, call sign JX-228. The pilot is Flight Lieutenant Norman Skelton. He does not know what he is carrying. He has been told it is a meteorological device. The Catalina takes off from Cornwall. It flies westward across the Bay of Biscay. William Martin is going home. He is going to Spain. The plan is to release the body near the Spanish coast. The Allies know that Spain is neutral, but they also know that Spain is riddled with German spies. The Spanish will find the body, they will tell the Germans will read the documents, and the Germans will believe. But there is a risk. Spain is neutral. If the British are caught orchestrating this deception, if it is discovered that they deliberately dumped a corpse on Spanish soil, it could cause an international incident. It could push Spain into the arms of Hitler. So everything must appear natural. Everything must appear accidental. On April 30th, the Catalina drops the body into the Mediterranean, not far from the Spanish coast. There is a current there. It is designed to carry the corpse to the shore. William Martin will wash ashore. The fishermen will find him. The Spanish authorities will investigate, and the Germans will learn what they need to learn. But will they believe? In Berlin, the German high command is in turmoil. They are terrified of an invasion. Hitler is paranoid. He fears that the British and Americans will strike at multiple points simultaneously. He wants to fortify every possible landing site. He has already made the decision to strengthen the defenses of Sardinia and Greece. Operation Mincemeat will confirm his suspicions. The Spanish authorities find the body on May 3, 1943. They begin an investigation, they file reports, they send photographs, they document everything meticulously, and they share their findings with their German contacts. By May 14th, German intelligence has obtained copies of the documents. They are analyzed with intense scrutiny. Are they genuine? Could they be a plant? But the details are too perfect. The handwriting is convincing. The military jargon is accurate. The emotional weight of the personal letter is genuine. And most importantly, the strategic information aligns with what German intelligence fears most. The Germans believe. At the highest levels of the Nazi command structure, the documents are circulated. Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt, Commander-in-Chief of German forces in Western Europe, is briefed. Hitler himself is informed, and based on the lies in William Martin's briefcase, they make their decision. Hitler issues orders. German forces will be reinforced in Sardinia. German forces will be reinforced in Greece. Forces that could defend Sicily will be pulled away. Divisions that could turn the tide are redirected to false targets. William Martin has won his first battle. He has never fired a shot. He has never given an order. He is dead. But he has moved armies. Yet the deception is not complete. Montagu and his team must ensure that nothing contradicts the narrative. They must seed additional false information into German intelligence channels. They must make sure that every other piece of intelligence the Germans receive confirms what William Martin told them. The operation reaches its crescendo in the days and weeks following the discovery of the body. Intelligence officers in Cairo, in London, in the Mediterranean work around the clock. They leak information. They plant rumors. They allow certain facts to be overheard. They construct an elaborate fiction, layer upon layer, until the entire German intelligence apparatus is convinced of a lie. The Germans begin moving forces. They withdraw divisions from Sicily. They strengthen positions in Sardinia and Greece. They deploy additional units. They spread their resources thin across the Mediterranean, chasing ghosts. And in London, in room 39 of the Admiralty, Ewan Montagu watches the intelligence reports come in. He sees the German movements. He sees the effect of his deception. He knows that Operation Mincemeat is working. Act 3, The Reckoning. It is July 10th, 1943. The invasion begins. Operation Husky. The invasion of Sicily. American and British forces land on beaches that the Germans have weakened. The Germans have sent their reserves elsewhere. They have been deceived. They have been moved like pieces on a chessboard by a dead man they never met. The invasion succeeds. The Sicilian campaign will last 38 days. The Allies will suffer fewer casualties than expected. Fewer men will die. Fewer ships will be sunk. All because William Martin whispered his lies from beyond the grave. But Operation Mincemeat is not merely a military success. It is a triumph of imagination. It proves that in war, what your enemy believes is sometimes more important than what is true. It demonstrates that the human mind can be manipulated through carefully constructed details. A fiancé's name, a theater ticket, a love letter. These small touches of humanity made the deception real. Field Marshal Erwin Rommel, the Desert Fox, the man Hitler called his greatest general, fell for the deception. His intelligence officers fell for it. The entire German command structure fell for it. After the war, Montagu will interview German officers. They will tell him that they believed William Martin because the documents felt real, because they had the texture of authenticity, because they told a story that made sense. Not the whole truth, but a truth. A fraction of reality that contained within it the seeds of a larger deception. The Allies will later discover that German intelligence knew the invasion date and location, just not which location. German spies in North Africa reported that invasion preparations were underway. But where? Sicily or Greece? The documents found on William Martin's body answered that question. Greece, Sardinia, anywhere but where the actual invasion would occur. The deception cost nothing in terms of material resources. It required no additional weapons. It needed no new soldiers. It simply required imagination, audacity, and the willingness to see a dead man as a weapon. But there is a cost that Montagu and his team never forget. The cost of using a human body, even a body of a man no one knew, even a man society had abandoned. There is something deeply unsettling about treating human remains as instruments of war. It raises questions about what we will do in the name of victory, what lines we will cross, what boundaries we will violate. The Spanish authorities never discover the deception. They never know that they were part of an elaborate intelligence operation. They file their reports, complete their investigation, and move on. The body of William Martin is buried in a Spanish cemetery. He is given a proper funeral. The war continues without him. By the time the Sicilian campaign ends, William Martin has been dead for months. But his legacy is everywhere. In the decisions Hitler did not make, in the German divisions that arrived too late to defend Sicily, in the American soldiers who came home instead of dying on contested beaches. Epilogue. More than 80 years have passed since William Martin died, a man who was never truly alive. Operation Mincemeat remains one of the most audacious deceptions in military history. It was declassified in 1953. The full story emerged, and military strategists around the world studied it, learned from it, feared it. Because what Mincemeat revealed was this: in the modern age, information is power, and controlling information means controlling reality itself. The dead man who washed ashore in Spain was not just a tactical deception. He was a glimpse into the future of warfare. Not tanks and artillery, but minds, beliefs, the careful construction of false realities so perfect that the enemy cannot distinguish them from truth. Ewan Montagu would later write a book about the operation. He would spend his remaining years reflecting on the genius and the moral ambiguity of what they had done. He had used a corpse as a weapon. He had violated the sanctity of human remains in the name of military necessity. Yet he had saved lives. Thousands of them. The body buried in the Spanish cemetery is marked with a simple stone. It reads, Major William Martin, Royal Marines, 1907-1943. No one visits it. No one knows that beneath that stone lies not a hero, but a fiction, a lie so perfect it became real. Today, in the National Archives, the documents that fooled Hitler still exist. They can be viewed. The forged letters, the false military passes, the photograph of a woman who was never William Martin's fiancée. They are preserved as artifacts of an almost forgotten time when a nation was willing to do extraordinary things to survive. And perhaps that is the final truth of Operation Mincemeat. It reminds us that in war, the most powerful weapon is not the one that kills, but the one that deceives. That the mind, once poisoned with false information, becomes its own worst enemy. That a corpse, given a name and a past and a purpose, can move nations. Major William Martin never fought. He never commanded. He never saved a single life with his own hands. Yet millions of men and women across continents and decades carry the weight of his sacrifice without knowing his name. He is the most successful soldier who never lived. He is the ghost who changed history. And in his strange, impossible existence, he teaches us something we would rather not know, that sometimes the greatest victories are won not by warriors, but by the dead.